Hello, my name is Mali Son, and I am presenting about the disease caused by water pollution. I'll talk about the facts of the water-related disease, history of water-related disease, major disease caused by water pollution, and solutions of it. Water is an essential source for human beings, but the importance of clean water was not fully recognized until the 1850s when the cholera had started to spread out throughout the centuries. At first, cholera was referred as an incurable disease. However, when people discovered methods to clean and purify water, it became easier to prevent many water-related diseases in developed countries. However, 3.4 million people in developing countries die annually from water-related disease, and they are mostly children because they don't have access to clean water and there's no sanitation. Most children have no access to nutritious food, so they do not have the necessary nutrients to fight and prevent from disease. Through illness due to water-related disease in developed countries have been significantly lowered. 1/3 of people in the world are still suffering from the diseases caused by water pollution. Early on, the water pollution was not enough to cause serious harm to human beings. However, human population began to increase all around the world almost in an explosive way, and because of this, the intensity of the water pollution became increasingly worse. The turning point of the intensity of water pollution began when, especially after the end of the Second World War, many companies and factories began mass producing when the Industrial Revolution occurred. This led to an increase in several synthetic items that were extremely dangerous to human health. As you can see the graph, the deaths increased as the smoke and sulfur dioxide has increased more in the air. When the Industrial Revolution progressed, the rate of the harmful gas that has effect in human body increased and caused more deaths. As newer and more complicated chemicals are constantly being created and discovered, should these spill into water system, it grows harder and harder with each passing day to maintain clean, drinkable water. Some example of this can especially be found within the last decade, and with population laws becoming more and more relaxed as companies grow in power and wealth. It is rapidly becoming more difficult to find ways to combat this ever-growing problem. The connection between disease and misuse of sewage systems was discovered later in the 18th century. Human waste and industrial waste were discarded into rivers for several centuries in the United States as well. Finally, at the turn of the 19th century, people were able to see a trend on where for longest of times what the impact of their actions had been. The explosion of new technology, especially during the Industrial Revolution, helped many allude to this conclusion. As a result, many groups were helping to defeat the pollution of water system, especially from industrial waste from the point on. According to the World Health Organization, the two most major water-related diseases are cholera and malaria. Cholera is still a huge issue even today. In many third world nations, cholera is rampant, especially to locations that do not have an easy means to access clean water. Another extremely dangerous disease that can be found in untreated water is malaria, which is responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands each year. Most of these diseases cause extreme diarrhea and can kill someone in days should they be unlucky enough to catch one of these diseases. If we continue to ignore the problem, pollution will persist to a point where as a species, will no longer be able to find a means to maintain it. In countries throughout the world, especially those that are dependent on the productivity of their industries, water pollution is reaching points that were never been imaginable in the past. The waste that is come out by these factories each day is to the major cause of the disease. If we continue to allow the industries responsible for such pollution to continue to remain unchecked, pollution levels will eventually achieve a crisis mass of sorts, so we should not ignore this problem and try to prevent it.